Before we begin, if you love mysteries, mythology, and ancient stories that refuse to die, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below telling me what's your favorite dragon from mythology or fiction. Now imagine this. Thousands of years ago, a traveler stands at the edge of the known world. Beyond him lies an endless sea. No one knows what awaits beyond the horizon. There's no maps, no explorers, no answers. So when ancient cartographers reached the edge of their maps, they drew terrifying creatures and wrote a warning. Here be dragons. But why dragons? Why did civilizations separated by entire oceans tell stories about giant serpents, sky monsters, and dragon-like beasts? How did ancient China, medieval Europe, Indigenous Australia, and countless other cultures all end up imagining creatures that seem strangely familiar? Tonight, we're diving into one of humanity's greatest mysteries, the origin of dragons. When someone says the word dragon, most people imagine the same thing. A giant reptile, massive wings, razor-sharp claws, and scales, fire pouring from its mouth. But there's the strange part. The oldest dragons didn't look like that at all. They weren't winged monsters. They were serpents. Gigantic snakes. Sometimes they had horns and sometimes antlers. Sometimes strange animal features. But at their core, dragons were simply enormous serpents. And according to some researchers, dragon stories may be far older than anyone ever imagined. Possibly older than civilizations itself. Even older than agriculture. We're talking about stories that could trace their roots back tens of thousands of years. To a time when humans still lived as hunter-gatherers. A time before cities, before kingdoms, before recorded history. So how could a story survive that long? The answer may be hidden inside your brain. Imagine you're walking through tall grass. You hear a rustle. Instantly, your attention snaps towards the sound. Your heart rate rises. Your body freezes. You don't know what it is yet, but your brain is already preparing for danger. Scientists have discovered something fascinating. Humans detect snakes faster than almost any other animal. Even babies and young children react to snake-like shapes, and usually quickly. It's as if our brains are specifically designed to notice them. And in a way, they are. For millions of years, snakes were among humanity's most dangerous predators. Long before humans existed, our primate ancestors lived alongside deadly serpents. The ones that spotted snakes quickly survived, but the other ones that didn't. Generation after generation, evolution rewarded brains that could instantly recognize serpents. The result? Even today, your brain pays special attention to snake-like shapes. You often notice them before you're consciously aware of seeing them. And there's another strange effect. Humans tend to exaggerate snakes. Remember them as larger, closer, and more dangerous. Now imagine Asian people sitting around a fire at night, telling stories and warning children about dangers, passing knowledge from one generation to the next. Like, what happens when a creature your brain is already programmed to fear becomes part of those stories? The snake grows, becomes larger than life, a monster, a dragon. But fear alone doesn't explain everything, because dragons aren't just giant snakes. They're tied to storms, floods, mountains, treasure, magic. Something else helped create the dragon myth, something buried beneath the earth itself. Imagine you're an ancient farmer. One day you're digging in a field. Your shovel strikes something hard. You clear away the dirt, and suddenly a gigantic bone emerges from the ground. You've never seen an elephant. You've never heard of dinosaurs. You have no concept of extinction. All you know is that you've uncovered the remains of something enormous, something monstrous. What would you think? Many ancient people had the same experience. Across the world, fossils were discovered long before science existed. Huge teeth, massive skulls, gigantic bones. To ancient eyes, they look like evidence that dragons had once walked the earth. And in many places, local legends grew around these discoveries. Stories of slain dragons, ancient monsters, serpents defeated by heroes. The earth itself seemed to be confirming the stories people had already believed. But fossils weren't the only source of inspiration. Sometimes nature created something even more convincing, which is fire. Imagine standing near a mountain when flames suddenly burst from the ground. Smoke fills the air, the earth shakes. Rivers of molten rock flow down the slopes. To us, that's a volcano. And to ancient people, that might have looked like a dragon. Across the ancient world, myths appeared near volcanic regions and natural gas vents. Places where fire seemed to emerge directly from the earth. In parts of modern-day Turkey, natural gas vents still burn today. Flames rise from cracks in the rocks without ever going out. Imagine seeing that 1,000 years ago. Wouldn't it seem like a fire-breathing monster lived beneath the mountain? Volcanoes, earthquakes, and strange geological phenomena gave physical form to the dragon stories people already knew. The monster wasn't just in their imagination anymore. The landscape itself appeared to prove it existed. And that's why dragons began evolving. Different lands produced different dragons. Chinese dragons, European dragons, feathered serpents in the Americas, water, sky, mountain dragons, all unique, yet all strangely familiar, because underneath every variation was the same ancient fear, the serpent. When you put all the pieces together, a remarkable picture begins to emerge. Evolution gives us deep awareness of snakes. Ancient storytellers transformed those fears into legends. Fossils made the legends seem real. Volcanoes and natural disasters gave dragons power. And as humanity spread across the globe, the stories changed and adapted, yet somehow they were never there. For thousands of years, empires rose and fell. Languages vanished, civilizations collapsed. But dragons remain. Why? Because dragons represent something larger than a monster. They embody chaos, fear, and nature, the unknown. They are the things waiting beyond the edge of the map, the dangers lurking just outside the firelight, and perhaps that's why every generation keeps reinventing them. Even today, there's still places where the unknown begins, and somewhere deep inside us, we still expect to find dragons there. But this is only the beginning of the story. Because if some researchers are correct, we can trace dragon myths back even further to mysterious serpent worshipped in prehistoric Africa tens of thousands of years ago, a creature known as the rain snake. And that story may be the ancestor of every dragon myth on Earth. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And let me know in the comments, do you think dragons were inspired by fossils, evolution, ancient disasters, or something else entirely? Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the oldest stories survive because they contain a grain of truth.